let's say somebody has a liquidity event that could be through their business, through an investment that they make. Hopefully here in crypto, we're going to see some of that. We've already seen a little bit of it. There's been a lot of people that made a lot of money on Bitcoin or ETH or Solana, other things. And, if they have this in their personal name or they don't have some type of construct around it, talk a little bit about the consequences that can go along with that. Like, is it just huge tax implications? Are they opening themselves up to creditors and lawsuits? Like, what are the downsides to not getting this right?
So the answer is it's a little bit of all of that, Jake, that you just mentioned. The more wealth you accumulate, the more prominent you become, the greater the threats to that wealth become. And that's just the way of the world. And so I'll break it down into two categories. You hit the nail on the head with the first one. So today I'm going to speak about asset protection and tax protection, which are very different things. Getting back to that asset protection. So that's what we would refer to as, you touched on it, creditors, judgments, liens, frivolous lawsuits, things like that. And it's a reality of the world that we live in that, again, just as I said, as you accumulate wealth and more people become aware of that wealth, those things are simply going to become more prominent. And many of them are frivolous. And the reality is, even if they are frivolous, they can have a huge impact on a family, not just hitting their wallet and hitting their balance sheet, but the stress and the time and the energy and the resources that can come from a process like that. The other most detrimental piece is taxation, is what you just said. And what we find, because most people, particularly people with wealth, they're working with a CPA on a year-to-year basis, and they're getting advice more or less of how they can kind of keep their tax bill in line on a year-to-year basis. But in my experience and what I've seen, where the damage is really done is when assets are passing from generation to generation. It's that estate tax liability